Hey, it's the podcast guy.
Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast.
And there it is! Sutton United of the Jebb Conference have put out First Division Coventry City, winners of the FA Cup themselves less than 2 years ago. And what a moment to enjoy for the fans of this Surrey side. They've had their moments before, but never one like this. But the whistle goes down. Delight for Sutton United. Sutton United from the National League are through to the last 16 of the FA Cup. No longer English football's perennial non-league club. A 123-year crescendo reaches a new peak for Sutton United, who are promoted to the Football League for the first time.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast in association with Lucky Star Gin. I'm your host Mike, and today on the panel we have Jenny and Neil. In this episode we're going to be covering the trip to Wealdstone, and we're going to look forward to the visit of York, and the artwork that you guys can't see but it will be on the thing is from Leo, who is Amber Army on Twitter. So it's at Amber Army SU on X, not Twitter. So thanks, Leo, for the artwork. We love the engagement, the comments, the sending stuff in, answering questions, calling me a moron, whatever it is. Love it. Chuck it all in. As Jack has said, all engagement is good engagement. Don't call me a moron or too much. Chat with other fans. Let us know what you'd like to hear next. Let us know what you think of the podcast. And all those likes and shares do let the algorithms get it in other people's faces as well. We're going to jump in. And we're going to say hello to Jenny. And
hello.
How was your summer off, Jenny?
Very good. Watching the Euros. A bit like watching Sutton, it's got to say. Yeah, time off. Bit of travelling around as normal. But looking forward to the football starting. It's a long time since MK Dons.
Absolutely, yeah. And we have a debut. We have new Neil. No, I'm just going to say Neil. Hello, Neil.
Hi there, Mike. Hi there, Mike and Jenny. Yeah, lovely to be on.
Lovely. Thank you for joining us. We're going to ask you to tell us a little bit about yourself and how you discovered your love for Sutton United. And in fact, the sound machine's going to come back into play. I want to know, who are you? Did everyone see that little bit of panic when it didn't come in straight away? I was like, oh, God, it's not working. So, yeah, Neil, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you started supporting Sutton. I know it's a fairly recent journey.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, cricket has always been my first love as a sport. And then in the last couple of years, I think it was the Australia World Cup. There was a women's football World Cup in Australia and New Zealand a few years back. Or maybe it was in last year. But anyway, I was waking up very early with my daughter, my older daughter. I've got two daughters, and we'd be watching games. And she said to me, Daddy, I want to go to a match, a local match. And then I looked at tickets. I thought, let me look at Palace tickets. And, you know, it was a couple of days before, it was like a Thursday evening, and the prices are outrageous for the Saturday. I was like, oh, she might not even like it. I might not even enjoy it. So why spend all that? So I thought, let's go down to Sutton. And it was just a blast. It was just a really, really good experience. Like, we met Jenny the giraffe, and like the kids still, yeah, exactly. And yeah, I mean, they remember Jenny. They don't remember any of the game, but no. And then it was a very positive experience coming to the game on the Saturday, and I came again on the following Tuesday's game. I can't remember which game it was now. Anyway, Tuesday evening game was great atmosphere. A couple of years ago now, and. Yeah, and then what happened is I grew up in the area, and we moved away, and then sort of came back. I was bumping into people from school, bumping into sort of, you know, you chat to someone next to you in the crowd, and you find out you live a couple of roads down from each other, and then it was just a very congenial atmosphere, and I just really, really enjoyed it. And I think it was a Saturday game again. We played Crewe. This was when Matt Gray was still manager, and Crewe were 1-0 up, and then freezing cold Saturday afternoon, we scored an equaliser, and there's two guys either side, didn't know them, been chatting to them, But when we scored, we just all had our arms around each other, jumping up and down, and it was just unbelievable. And it's just that connection with the other fans and stuff, really, that kept me coming back. And I still hooked now, to be honest. Yeah.
That's the word. Do you know what you left that message on YouTube where we're talking to Paul Brunson, and he'd said his little story, and you kind of, that echoes a lot of what I said, and it's almost word for word without turning to a stranger and giving him a hug when we scored. I was like, okay, I didn't realize it was quite that. So I suspect at one stage this season your girls may get a bit of extra attention from Jenny the Giraffe, because you may or may not know, and don't tell them, but Jenny has been Jenny on at least 2 occasions.
Three now.
Okay, I only knew 2. So Jenny has been Jenny. So she can't see much, but if she sees you and you say, hello, Jenny.
Were you handing out Easter eggs?
No,
not that one.
No,
the first time she did it was it last season?
Yeah, when we played Wimbledon.
Yeah. So first time she did it, and
then there was near Christmas.
I was guiding her around.
Yeah.
And I said something to her, because I'd done a dress up in an outfit years ago for French dress, and I said, oh, let me just double check. Are you actually smiling when the photos are taken? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, no one can see what you're doing in this outfit. And she's like, my face is hurting.
You can't help it. You can't help it.
But yeah, no, it is a nice little club, and it does hook you in. Like as everyone has said, is once you start coming. You've said it's been a couple of years. For me, it's 35.
Wow.
Go on, Jenny.
61. My dad took me when I was 5, and you can work it out then.
Yeah.
Well, it's more than that
you're 27.
Yeah.
27 years young.
Yeah.
It does hook you in, and you can't get away from it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hooks you in.
Right. So there is another bit. Well, not another bit. A bit of homework I set you. I do have to say, when I did these random questions, it was at the end of last season, and it wasn't when they were chucking around all the words professionalism and all the rest of the changes they want to make. But this one's quite relevant, I think. So it's the knowing me, knowing you section, and ABBA still haven't put a copyright on me for this. So the question I asked, and we're going to start with you, Jenny, because you're going to have a slightly different perspective with young uns as well. But what changes or improvements would you like to see at the club over the next few years?
I made notes.
Oh my God.
I know. No. I'd love to see on a big scale the Collingwood Road side. There's always been the plans about building something there, changing rooms and the thing. I'd love to start seeing that come to fruition, or being made a start of, because it's such a big space. There could be a really good, such a lot of wasted space for us. It could be a great space. I'd like to see that materialise, or starting to materialise. And on a very small note, that hopefully this season, the change I'd like to see, I'm not sure how they'll do it. On Saturday, when I was coming back after half time to go to from the grandstand side, obviously, when I was going back to the standing where you were, Mike, down the Collingwood Road end, the steward wouldn't allow me to walk through the seated part. Okay. Yeah. I had to go round the back. Now, I wasn't impressed. I won't say what I said. I think I just called him a job's worth, because I said I don't sit. I mean, he's not going to know me, but I don't sit. The thing is, I went round the back quite fast, and I only just got in when the second goal went in. And I would have been furious if I'd missed that. And I thought, is there not a way where, if people walk by and they suddenly sit down, the steward could go up?
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. So I'd like to see that sort of sorted out. Maybe
Yeah.
it happens. I think they got to be sensible. I don't want to see it. I don't want to,
I
don't know.
They need to give you a pass because you were being Jenny, so they should have said, giving you a little bit of paper to say, let
But
her walk past.
they didn't know that was
No,
me.
exactly.
But I only just got that goal, and I was thinking as I walk around, if I miss a goal, I'm going to be furious.
Well, there was a lot of things like that Saturday with the Teethings, because apparently Paul got stopped coming up the tunnel, asked for his media pass, and it was
Sorry, Brunson.
No, Paul the photographer. And it was
wow.
The media passes haven't been given out to anyone yet. Well, we can't let you pass without a media pass. And you had people coming out going, no one's got a media pass. It's fine. They had to argue to go, no, let them out because there are no media passes. So yeah, there's going to be a few things like that. Obviously, 'cause it's new people.
I know it'll probably get sorted out, and I don't expect special treatment. And what was nice is that some of the stewards recognise, we recognise them, they recognise us, and I didn't get any grief about going in the 1898 thing. The last down our end, she was the one that used to be at the other end. She knew it. So
Leanne, yeah, she's brilliant.
the new people, and I'm not going to, and it will get sorted out. But I thought there must be a way where we can walk through that area. Hopefully. Because
I'm not confident there will be, because it's such a small walkway. Not that it's to stop people necessarily sitting down, it's more to stop people walking across people's view as well. So you'll have people going, well, I paid for a seat and I've got people walking in front of me. I don't know.
Fair enough. It's Sutton supporters, and I'll go, excuse
absolutely.
me, I'll run.
Yeah, exactly.
But and that's a small that's a small point. And that was what I'd like to see. Maybe if they could sort it out.
Absolutely, there's loads to sort out. Stand, I think a lot of people like the idea of, I'm going to get this wrong, was it Wealdstone who had a new stand, and they were saying we could have one like that? It wasn't. Did Wealdstone have 3G? Which one of them's got 3G?
Yeah, Wealdstone have got 3G.
They had a new stand a few years ago, and a lot of people were saying something like that across the park end would be lovely. But whether we're going to get it or not, who knows?
I'd love that to happen. It's been a long years now. They were talking about it when we played Arsenal, that they thrown
before
some money.
So Neil, with your own thoughts and your dad thoughts, what changes would you like to see at the club in the next few years?
So I think, and I haven't been to Gander Green Lane this season so far. I missed the first home game, but last season I did think the fan zone area was really quite tired, like, if I'm honest. Now that may have been upgraded, and I think it has, like, from what I've seen. But so that's sorted already probably. So I can't make it this weekend, but when I come to the next home game in a few weeks, I'm looking forward to that, because I just thought it was just looking really dishevelled, and probably for good reason. They were holding back until the end of the season to fix it. But the nice thing is that I like when the club have done. Sometimes they've had the women's players out there sort of greeting fans, some of the men's players before the game, and I think you can't underestimate how much that's appreciated by the fans, especially those with kids and stuff. And there's times when they've had sort of a little football court set up so the kids can run around and play just near the fans, and I think that works really well. And everyone's it's just good fun, that engagement. You play a bit, and then you go inside and you watch, and it sort of builds up to the game, doesn't it? Then you see Jenny, and then it's just like life has peaked at that point. But if you're especially if you're below sort of 8 years old. But so that was probably my main thing, really, the fan zone. But it sounds like that's improved. And probably the other thing, again, this is quite small, but and it's probably not directly to do with the club either, but the sort of range of food and drink in the stalls inside the ground, beyond just chips and a burger, which are great, but maybe a few more ranges of burger, or I don't know, some kids drinks or something, just like those fruit shoots or something. It just makes it's a very, very small point, but it makes a difference, like when you're taking little ones along.
No, absolutely. It is on the radar. I have no more information than it's on the radar. And there's lots of little things that aren't there. There's no sort of vegetarian or vegan options other than chips. So there's lots of little things that could easily happen. For me, I sort of sit there and I think there's no reason why we can't have a massive bowl of chili or a massive like vegetarian curry, or just you can dollop it into like one of those polystyrene and go, there you go, off you go. They're dirt cheap to make.
So far, the 2 away games, we've been shown up with our catering.
Yeah.
They've been very, very good. And, they're smaller clubs in theory than ours. And we would be embarrassed if they came to ours at the moment. They would, because it's very, very good at Wealdstone and at Tamworth.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I know is it's been mentioned many times. I think you were very generous with the burgers are good, but it's been mentioned a lot. The fan zones changed a little bit. I have to admit, when the first fan zone went up, I was kind of really excited for it. And it was coincided when we went to Wembley. I was asked to have a little look at the fan zone in Wembley, take photos, and I was like, yeah, this is going to be great. And I got there and I was like, it's literally a bar, a food outlet, and some barriers. That's all it was. Yeah. So then when people started moaning about our one, I went, hang on a minute, this is way better than was at Wembley. So let's just sort it out. So there's lots of nice little things that's gone on behind at that end, and it can be sort of developed because it's kind of nicely hidden away. So you can't see the pitch, which is obviously you're not allowed to. So I think you'll enjoy it. And it looks semi-permanent small area for the kids to play that with the footballs, and there was someone there certainly feeding the balls in as they went flying off, so that they got to carry on playing as well. So that was good. I mean, for me, it's the little things. That side would love to see it developed. My dream was a big stand with the change rooms and stuff underneath the stand, food and drink outlets. So because I know at some stage, especially if we go up, we're going to be stuck in our little bits. So if you choose that end, you're not going to be able just to wander around and stuff. So everywhere's got to have their own little things as well. So just get all those little things. Take people's money is what I want. But don't make them feel like they're taking their money. Just feel like they've got to have a great day out and so on. Right, quickly on to club news. The coach to Eastleigh is being taken bookings for now. So make sure you jump on it. It's shaping up to be a very interesting match at the moment. Thanks, Steve and everyone. You've signed a new player. I managed to get someone to do a scouting report for me tomorrow, but you chose to play him literally the day after. So everyone's going to have seen the player before they hear my in-depth report about the player. And there's nothing really special to say on the podcast. So yay. Pre-match, Neil, we'll start with you. Did you even try and predict the lineup? Because if I had, I would have gone with a very unchanged side, because you win 5-0, you keep it the same. No, not Steve. 5 changes, I think it was. But how did you feel at the lineup?
4 or 5,
yeah. There's 5.
Yeah, it was 5 changes, wasn't it? Yeah, I didn't try and predict it. I just did the same sort of guesswork as you, Steve. Mike, I mean, sorry. And that it'll be largely unchanged. Maybe a couple of the players had niggles. I don't know, but. It was good that was it did Charlie Waller, was it his debut?
Yeah.
And I thought that was good. I thought then we were going to come on to this, but I did think sort of Wealdstone were quite good going down that side, and he had a lot of work to do, but the goal would have boosted his confidence a lot. So in terms of the pre-match, from the previews I'd read, I thought largely unchanged team. I was completely wrong, and I thought we would probably eke out a narrow win, which thank goodness was right, basically based on the results I'd seen from Wealdstone last year. It would have been quite poignant to see Craig as well, Craig Eastman play, but I think he had an injury.
He did. He was about beforehand. Did you see him, Jenny? Or
no, I didn't. I was looking, but I didn't see him. But
no, he was about. I know. Quite a few people had a little chat with him and stuff.
Oh, right. Oh, that's good, because I thought, well, to be quite honest, like the team, he would only know like Jacko, Steve Arnold and Josh Coley, and I thought so he might have stood with the fans, which wouldn't have looked good at Wealdstone. So
no, exactly, yeah. Well, think of poor Enzio. He wouldn't have known any of the players.
Enzio, absolutely.
Oh no, he would have known Catherine. And
Yeah,
probably
can.
I don't know, but
They would
yeah.
have known the fans more.
They would have known
people
more of the
would
fans than the players. Yeah,
do,
exactly.
yeah, to sort of mix more with us than them. So,
Yeah,
but no, I didn't see him, which was a shame because a lot of
Yeah.
people wanted to thank him because you never get a chance to
Yeah.
do that when
No.
when
No.
these players go. So.
But what were your thoughts on the lineup and your expectations ahead of the game?
Me,
Yeah.
the lineup, yeah, I saw it. No, because I am still getting used to who they are. Thank God they've got names on the back. I do know a certain amount. I know about 5 now, and it never occurred to me because I still have to get EFL out of my head because when you're in the EFL, you don't play Bank Holiday Monday, and then it made sense that he would change people around because although they're a very young and fit squad, there's a lot of games. There's what they're going to be playing 4 games in 8 days or something, Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Monday. So when that was sort of pointed out to me, I thought, but I didn't appreciate it because I thought it was going to be the same Saturday. Great, I'm raring to go. I can look at this now. I thought, oh no, he's changed it. So it isn't, to my mind, it isn't that they were injured or they were tired. He was mixing it up because with the greatest respect to Wealdstone, I don't know. He's never going to say, but I think he may have thought that York City was going to be a harder match than Wealdstone, and Eastleigh definitely than maybe both of those. Yeah. So I think he was just, freshening it. But I think there was nothing more than that there's a lot of games because I remember Bank Holiday Mondays last 3 seasons, I used to look for, we're not playing. You didn't have a game, so I used to go down and watch, National League sides if I could.
Can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Well, you can. It's just our National League.
No, absolutely. Love it.
So I don't think everyone's given a figure yet, but they announced the crowd is just under 1,600. But I don't think they actually announced the away attendance. But from different reports, I'm hearing sort of 350 to 450. What kind of... You agree
I
with
read
that?
somewhere 310.
Oh, okay.
I don't know where I read it.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's still...
It's a lot more than we would normally take away. I mean, I go to a lot of the away matches, and we'd be to the hardcore of 180, 200. If we got 200, it would be fantastic. Usually maybe up to 100 on the further, Notts County and things. But I mean, a lot of the Amber Army, the young lads, they filled one of the stand. They were there, and I could see, and I thought, great. Now, whether that was on the back of Saturday, I don't know, but a lot more than I would suggest normally go. And in a sense, by the train and that, it wasn't too difficult a trip to make. But it was a good turnout. A lot, a good turnout.
Yeah, excellent. Right, so the match. Let's get onto it. Jenny, we'll start with you. I mean, I know we scored after 11 minutes, but how are you kind of feeling leading up to the goal? I
mean, we always have a lot of energy. What I like on, and I see it, whether people say it wasn't a very good match, etc., is whenever the opposition seem to have the ball, we're on them or get to them, and it's not just one. Sometimes we like herding in packs, and I noticed so often when one of them had the ball, someone came to them, but then there'd be another one trying to get on them.
Yeah,
and the fact that it wasn't spectacular, but I'll be honest, it's the 3rd match. They changed the team, and I'm still, as far as I'm concerned, still in the gel. Because we're doing so well, I think people, that wasn't a very good match. And I'm not being funny. I will forgive them anything if we come out and win, but I'll forgive them anything. After 10 games, I expect to see them firing a lot more. But for what they're doing at the moment, I have no complaints. Really have no complaints. And then that goal, listen, for what we went through last season, I'm happy. It's a better style of football. I know it can be bitty. I know that they're not always but it's not hoofball.
No.
They're fit. They're hunting impacts. They're pressing. They're really getting in there. What's not to like? It's as simple as that for me.
And the goal. Did you realise how good it was when you were watching it, or
what was annoying? We're down the other end, and so far, when they're shooting to a light Saturday, they're not scoring. Well, they did Saturday, and I must admit, at half time, although we were up the slope, I'm thinking, right, come on, we're going to get a couple of goals here, and it didn't happen. No. But so we could see it, but I must admit, I said to the other Neil, I went, who scored that? I couldn't.
Oh yeah.
It's very difficult to see, and I don't know them well enough. The guy with the blonde hair. Who's that? No, bless him. Sorry, Mr. Waller, but you know what I mean. So that aspect, but that sort of second half was different.
Okay, we'll come on to the second half in a second.
But first half, bitty, but no complaints. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's all right. Wasn't asking.
They're still learning. They're still learning.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts kind of leading up to the goal, Neil? And similar with Jenny, were you impressed with the sort of energetic pressing? Is it high press? I don't know what they call it.
Yeah, I was. I was impressed at the sort of the pace they played at. I didn't go to, the only pre-season friendly I went to was Brentford, but it was a similar style actually, that sort of high energy pressing up the pitch. And I was especially Jade. I noted this down actually because I knew I was coming on here. Jaden Harrison, Jeremy Sivy, I was very impressed with. They were very, very good, caused Wealdstone a lot of problems, especially in the first half an hour, and that sort of opened that opened up the way for Charlie Waller's goal. But Wealdstone had their moments. I think late in the first half, like Steve Arnold had to make a really good save. And, that could have changed the game. But I didn't feel that sense of fragility. Last season, if we did go 1-0 up, you sort of you just didn't feel comfortable that it would stay 1-0 up. Whereas yesterday, I didn't feel like, we're going to let another goal in, or we're going to let one in the 95th minute or anything like that. Even though Steve did have to make some really good saves. So I was very happy with the first half. I was impressed. Albeit, I agree with you, Jenny. I couldn't see who'd scored. It was quite difficult to make out but the fact was, most of the game seemed to be being played, and especially the first half an hour in the Wealdstone's third, which is a good sign. Which was a good sign. So I liked what I saw.
Definitely, last season it was that game. You're like, oh, when are we going to concede? Not will we concede? It's like, what minute are we going to concede? So neither of you had a good view of the goal, but you've obviously seen it since, or I hope you've seen it since on the on Twitter and whatnot. And can I just say, what a goal!
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, hang on, I'm going to do that again.
Oh,
what a goal! What a come on!
Oh, sorry. Oh no.
But yes, what an amazing goal! And as he said himself, he might need to work on his celebration a little bit.
Yeah, he wasn't expecting it, was he? It was a good. I know Josh probably didn't get the assist, but I can remember it, from midfield when he passed the ball out to. I mean, that was a fantastic pass. I thought Josh played. He was all, those goals he's had, his confidence, I would like to think, is really there. He was into everything, even to the point of getting booked, which was a bit bizarre. But, it was a great cross. I know it was a couple of more passes then, but he to me, he set it up because I could see that bit. And then it was because there was quite a few players around, wasn't there? And then it went in and I'm like, oh, right. And we couldn't see who finished that off.
He almost kind of stepped back and wait for the ball. And another time you're always attacking the ball because you're desperate to do it, and he kind of saw it coming and went, I know exactly what I'm going to do, and just step back. And it's just that little bit extra that obviously we don't see so much because they're coming from the academies. But you're right. We doing the high press. There were a few instances. Steve Morrison didn't seem too fussed. He said, there was a few times that Steve had to come out and smother the ball, but there wasn't anything that he was too concerned about. He's obviously only been at Sutton for 6 months, so That's why he's not concerned.
Did Steve Arnold save that? And we were right behind it when it was a brilliant save. Did that come across on the TV? So he in the first half.
Oh, in the first half.
He really had to. That was the only save he really had to make.
Yeah, he didn't have a lot to do.
Yeah,
I have to say, better team. Wealdstone were great, but they didn't have a finisher. Their finishing was the build up was but it didn't bother me because they actually didn't really have a poacher or a finisher
with it. Yeah, my knowledge of football is legendary, but I did say as I was watching it, I said to the missus, if we're lucky that they're shit and can't score.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah.
But we these are the games that we were losing. But half time, Jenny's boy comes on. So first half, Finn, the new signing, lots and lots of hype with him, and he was one that they were definitely after. And in fact, I think it's the Athletic paper magazine thing. They picked him out as one of the players to watch going into the Premier League from the academies this year.
Wow.
And then surely Hothry signed for us on loan. So did he? I mean, I didn't see an awful lot wrong, but it was clear. It seemed clear he'd only just met the players. But did he show anything for you guys to kind of go, "Oh, that's a good player"?
I'll let Neil go. Go on, Neil.
So interesting experience last night. I spent the whole second half chatting to Finley's dad. Basically.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So I was just, I didn't know, we just started talking to each other, and I asked him, "Oh, do you come off?" And he goes, "Well, no, but my son's playing today." So, and then we went from there. and slightly embarrassing, I didn't, I wouldn't be able to sort of. I just remember seeing moments with Finley, and he looked neat and tidy. He didn't look overly sort of hustled on the ball. So he didn't seem troubled by the pace of the game, but he did pick up a knock, and his dad was, his dad Matt was a little bit concerned about that, but he wasn't hobbling at the end. I think Steve would have probably taken him off at halftime anyway.
I think that's probably planned.
Yeah. So I think as far as I can say, he didn't do much wrong. But he probably needs more time to bed in and just like gel with the players, like Jenny said.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Jenny, you'll hopefully know what I mean, but do you remember when we had Jebb?
Yeah.
When he got the ball, he just seemed to have time. He seemed to just know exactly what he was doing. Yeah, he didn't quite make it and all the rest of it, but he just seemed to get the ball and have a bit of time. Did it feel a bit like that, or again, is it just you think? This isn't criticising him. I think he's had like one training session.
Considering he'd had one training session, I thought he looked like he'd been in the team longer. Mm-hmm. But I mean, he no disrespect to the lad, but he wasn't tearing up the pitch, and but he looked like he'd perhaps had pre-season with them, and that he was playing. He'd been playing in the team longer. Definitely, he looked okay. He didn't look nervous. He just slotted in. Obviously fit, like quite tall. Was happy to get in there. Was happy to try and win the ball back. He looked okay. But I think that's good because if he, sorry, but if he really is, we wouldn't have him. I would suggest if he was suddenly looking like Messi. Why would we be at Sutton United? He looked.
So, I mean, it's quite noticeable. The game kind of not stop-start, but it did kind of swing. There was no real chances. Steve again had a couple things to do. We'll talk about the one at the end in a minute. But Steve said this, and I agree. We just went through that thing of, we've got we kind of 65, 70 minutes. We've got that thing of we've got the 1-0. Let's drop back and defend and start pulling back. Were you nervous at this point, Jenny?
I have to say, I was quite right. Like last season, it was like, when's the other team going to score? I didn't feel that, but sitting next to Neil for the last gosh, it was like on the 75th, 80th minute, and they were pressing. I mean, thank God, they didn't have a finish on them. But I said to Neil, this is starting to feel a bit like last season. And I was actually glad when the final whistle went. I'm not sure, because they were such poor finishers.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God. If they hadn't have been, I suspect we would have probably drawn it. And because again, like that, that save at the end that he knocked onto the post. I mean, oh my God! Like, just blow the whistle, please. And what I did notice, which was strange, and I think this might have been because they're young lads. So we added time. We actually got the ball. I'm not sure who it was. They went down the wing, and we take it into the corner, take it, and they weren't. That was us, and I'm like, whoa. And that was, in some ways, was good. It's like, we're still going to be attacking here.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all going, take it into the corner, take it into the corner. And they didn't. And then lost the ball, and it's like, but I think that was an experience.
Well, if you score another goal, you don't need to take it in.
But I did have a little bit of last season's in the last 3 or 4 minutes. And when everyone went, I'm like, just blow the whistle, please. And I was happy with the 1-0.
Absolutely. Neil, what were you thinking towards that sort of end part of the game where we were just dropping back and back and back?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I got a little bit of the same feeling that we used to get last season, but not so much. And I agree with Jenny. Like, when we had the ball, we were really we were trying for a second goal. We weren't holding back from that, which I like to see. Which I actually, we put 2 away past them, then the game's over. So I thought that was good. But the game did get very, very messy and got, from what I could tell anyway, there was lots of sort of niggly fouls and from both teams. So it sort of lost its rhythm, didn't it? But I didn't feel as, I would have been if they had scored, I would have been gutted, because I thought, we didn't, we really should have won that game in this. Mind you, before this podcast, I looked at the stats, and the stats are I think they were fairly even possession-wise and shots-wise and stuff. But it didn't, I think, anyway. So, but nevertheless, I thought I didn't have the same worries as last season. I don't know why. I think it's just the aura the team has. They just don't look as nervous or as fragile. It's very hard to put your finger on it. But I just didn't get that feeling.
To me, it feels that we have confidence they're going to score, or they could score if they needed to. Last year, we were scratching around for goals. I know we won 5-1 the opening day. We beat Walsall 4-0. But it felt like every goal we scored, we had to really work for. And every goal we conceded seemed to just be like, oh, here you go, have a goal. It just feels like if they had to score, if Wealdstone equalised, they would have, and I would have got a result right, because I said 2-1. But they also know that I predicted 1-0, 2-0, 2-1, so they're not going to do that. Let's talk about Steve livening the night up for everyone. Neil, how did you think of Steve's juggling and punching it onto the post and saving it? just checking everyone's heart rate was still okay.
Oh, he's just such a solid presence, though, isn't he? He's just and before, I don't know. Well, you won't have known this watching the TV, but Jenny, you may have saw that the young lad, a Sutton fan, in the during the warm-ups, got hit in the head from just a shot, and then he had a bandage put on and first aid and whatnot, and it was very unfortunate. He was very upset, but Steve Arnold came over, gave him a hug, and it was just a really nice gesture. You wanted to stay for the whole game. Dad said, "Look, we can go home," but he said no. But Steve, I thought, was impressive, and as he has been for a long time, he's just he's very calm presence, from what I could tell. I'll sitting right behind the guy. He's got a very calming presence. He doesn't shout and scream like maybe other keepers should. But it's I got no complaints. I've got no complaints at all. Who's our captain? Is it Josh?
No, it's Tyler.
It just occurred to me. Oh, okay. Yeah. I just wasn't sure. Yeah. Josh. Yeah, I was just thinking, Josh he's playing like a senior player. Sorry, I digressed.
This is something I may have said to him. I was looking forward to seeing him as a senior player, because pretty much everywhere he's gone, he's been one of the younger ones, and now suddenly you're the old boy now. Well, not the old boy, but you're one of the old boys, and it's just going to be different to see how he takes that mantle. But Jenny, how are you feeling at Steve's juggling?
Yeah, in some ways, I think he's earned that he can do that, because I actually am watching it now. Okay, Wealdstone, sort of couldn't hit a barn door, but they could. What was there was when they did actually get it on target, Steve was there and he was saving them. And to me, first half particularly, I thought our defence looked okay, but what was brilliant is if they got shown up, Steve was the solid. I was sure that he would then survive. He's there as the presence that, if the defence gets split open or anything, Steve's there. And I had every confidence that whatever went wrong, if the defence let someone in, he would be there. And that's the big difference from last season. And well, until the last, when he did play, honestly, I did, especially when the first half I sat behind him and you could see that if the defence didn't clear it up or anything, he was solid. He's brilliant goalkeeper. And okay, he saved at the very end. I mean, we all gave his heart back because we all thought it had gone in. From where we could see it, even the commentators thought it had gone in. It's only when I've watched it back, he put it onto the post. Great save. Why not?
I think he either lost it out of his hands or lost sight of it, and then reacted very, very quickly. But we should say the podcast and Her Game 2 sponsored Steve Arnold. But I mean, we saw it out. What are your kind of thoughts on it? Was the slope that important? Because a couple of people have mentioned it. Obviously, we were going down the hill first half and up the hill second half. Did it seem that obvious? Jenny,
I didn't think it. Think it did.
No, fair enough.
They're so fit, they're still running at 100 miles an hour at the end of the match. And when they say slope, I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Okay. If they say there's a slope. And it probably is if I was on it. But no, it's... Wealdstone came out. I don't know what they were told at half time, and I thought they'd run out of a bit of steam, but they came out to give it everything. They were throwing the kitchen sink. They were doing everything. And they seemed to be able to do that for 45 minutes. But thankfully, they couldn't get many shots on target.
No, so it was a different type of win. Obviously, Saturday we had the swashbuckling, and this one we had the kind of defending it out, grinding out the result, which if you're going to get promotions, you need to play. You need to get points when you're not necessarily firing on all cylinders. I thought they did all right. And as Jenny said earlier, this isn't a team that you're thinking, oh God, they're lacking. It's a case of they're gelling. They just need a little bit more time here, there, and everywhere, and things will just drop into place. Not like the disjointed from last season. Steve made a very funny comment, I thought, and I got what he meant straight away. But he was happy how we defended it, but he wasn't happy with how we defended it. It was like, hang on, let's make it right. And I get what he means is. He's happy we did defend, but he kind of wants to play on the front foot attacking football. So like you guys were saying, go to the corner. He's like, no, go for the goal. Get the goal. And then it doesn't matter if they score another one. But how did you see the sort of the overall win? Neil, we'll start with you. How did you feel post-match, apart from relief, obviously?
Yeah, I thought it was a good sort of character-building win, actually. I thought, in a way... I think it would do the team more good than the 5-0 win, probably, because it was tough. The second half, Wealdstone came out and they really, they troubled us. And frankly, for a team with better strikers, they would have probably scored against us and got at least the equaliser. But I think we would have been good enough to get another one if we had to. That's the difference. So I was really happy with the win. I think there's a lot to learn from, and the fact that sort of Charlie and Finlay and these guys got really good game time, it only bodes well. So I was very, very happy.
Yeah, Jenny.
Yeah, the same. It's interesting because Wealdstone have now played 3 games as well, and they've not got a point on the board. and they haven't. I read their report from Saturday when they played Oldham, and if they only lost 1-0 there, so they're trying their hardest. They're sort of, in many ways, they've been unlucky because of that. They're like it. To be their supporter is what we went through last season.
Yeah.
And a lot of the play the endeavour was there, shooting nearly then, but it's saved and it hit the post. I actually, I'm glad we won. I felt for them a little bit because they played 3, probably deserve something, definitely out of Saturday, it seems. And then Oldham scored. And they hit the post in the extra time. But for our side, these are the games that you don't play particularly well. It's not very good, but you win. That's saying something over the years that you've seen, whether it's Premiership or here. I'm not saying anything yet, but they're the matches that you perhaps should have been happy with a draw away from home, but we got the win.
It
Very
gives us
happy.
a little buffer. So some little just shouts from around social media. So we've got Kieran on Insta, who was not happy that it was terrible in the second half. We had no shots on target. And then on Facebook, we had Adam saying it's a brilliant result. And then on TikTok, it's Stuart, who's been on a few times, not pretty, but we'll take it, which I'm pretty sure is what Sally said in the wedding vows. But we're going to finish up with the game, and we're just going to do your good, bad, and the funny. That one does get copyrighted. So let's start with what was good. So Neil, what for you was good? This is the match day experience. Last week they were both of their bads were the travel to the game. Like moany old men one. But so it can be anything you like. But what was good for you first of all?
Well, I had an interesting experience. I think I shared it on my Instagram. But I got off at Farringdon Station on the way to the ground. I was wearing my Sutton shirt, and there was a group of maybe 15, 20 lads who weren't in any football kit. They saw me, pointed, and go, Sutton, Sutton. And then they go, what's your name? And I said, Neil. And then they all started chanting Neil in the middle of Farringdon Station rush hour. And Farringdon, it's quite an echoey station. So there I was, feeling like, I don't know, the other commuters, they must have thought I was a celebrity or something. I should have offered to.
You should have been filming this.
So that was good. It was nice, and we had a chat on the way up, and it was most of the young lads at the Amber Army guys, and it was fun. So I enjoyed the journey up actually.
Yeah.
Didn't realise how far Ruislip was. You think, it's London?
Yeah. No, it's London. Yeah, and then it comes up 50 miles away. Whoa.
Yeah. So that was my good.
Everyone always forgets how big London is, really. But yeah, I absolutely would have been recording that, and that would have been on the tannoy as I'm walking into work every single morning, whether I'm working from home or not. It's getting even worse now, Neil. You've been on the podcast. Jenny, what was your good?
My good, I've got to name him Sidhu at the end. He's becoming, his middle name will be Jürgen, I'm sure. But that's obviously what he's going to do every time if we win. But it's great because there's the connection then with the fans. And again, it's only the third game, but that connection, and now people know that he's going to come up because he starts with his hands shaking. And that's his. And that's good. It's great. It's it does, because apart from the fact we've won, it leaves everyone with this feel-good feeling, i.e. the match might not have been brilliant, but when you got that, it's great. That's good. It's good of him.
That's definitely something that got lost last year, that little walk around, just appreciating the fans were there.
And that's
I get it's hard. I get it's hard when you're losing time after time and you just want to hide away. But it's that little thing that keeps everyone on side. Jenny, we'll go with you. What's bad?
The bad, I will mention it, is and I've dobbed Sidhu in on it, so I'm sorry, mate, but it was his shot. He was practicing shooting, and the ball, it was a screamer, it hit like the top of the stand and a stanchion, and it flew down, and it hit Bruce, which sort of sent him flying, and he went into a board that actually was a bit dangerous, and so that was bad. But I have to say, the players that were still present, they were straight away there, because he screamed and that. They were straight away there, and our part of the management team, Cat Chambers, they ran across because they were calling straight away for someone to come over. Ryan was there, but it was what happened shouldn't really have happened.
Yeah.
But so that was the bad, if you like. And on a separate note, the M4 closing certain junctions when I'm trying to go to Swindon.
They call this the travel section. So let's just get it right. 1 second. Sigi was your good and your bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't his fault. And
hang on. You said he had a shot which hit the top of the stand. How can that not be his fault?
Yeah. Well, he was practicing. But I hold my hand up, and if he ever watches this, I'm sorry, because when I was speaking to Ryan afterwards, I said, God, that was a hell of a ball that, Sid, you think? And he went, was it him? And I went, yeah, did you not know? And he went, no, I didn't. And I went, oh no, sorry.
He got a kit out of it. It'll be all right.
Oh, I'm sure.
No, he seems fine. I'm not.
What's a Terry Butcher? Yeah, the
Terry Butcher bandage on, and the last we heard,
said, he'll love that. I said, milk it, Minnie, milk it, Bruce. So yeah, but the M4, the M4, they keep shutting between. Let me see.
It's all right, Jenny.
13 and 14.
We're not going to Swindon. We're all right. We don't care.
Oh man.
Last we heard was Bruce is all right, but obviously we don't know how Rachel's going to take it out on Ryan. But Neil, what was your bad?
Oh, it's difficult to say what my bad was, really. Yeah, I was going to say the young lads. I learned his name was Bruce. That was sort of, I didn't see it, but it was quite upsetting because I saw him crying.
It can be the same one if you want. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, no, I can't say anything bad. I got an insight into a professional footballer's dad's life, chatting to Matt, Finley's dad, for the whole of the second half, and he had a long old journey home, and he was coming back. I think 3.5 hours home. Please. And
don't tell me he went on the M4.
I think he was going back to Suffolk, wherever he lives in Suffolk.
Wow.
So then he was coming back the following morning. So yeah, the life of a professional sports person's parent is probably a grueling one, isn't it?
That was something I considered doing a couple of years ago. When obviously I knew a lot of players a lot better. I was going to get Kobe's mum on and Eastie's mum on, and a couple other mums just to talk about how they were doing. I was like, that would be an angle, wouldn't it? But I wasn't sure how the players would take it with their mums coming on. Never mind. Right. And Neil, with you, what was funny about the day?
Oh, the funny thing that the earlier Farringdon experience was funny, but I enjoyed the. I don't get a chance to go to many away games because of the young family, so it was just a fun experience being away, and the Amber Army were in really good voice, and so that was a fun bit for me.
You will be surprised when you get to a home game, because now we're all down at the Collingwood, and it was noisy. It was very good. Jenny, what was funny for you?
I know. Just to go back to the Bruce incident with the ball and his cut head, the Sutton Cat Chambers came back, and they had they were coming over the big bag that they would come out onto a pitch if a player was injured.
Mm-hmm.
They had all the kit there. They came over, and it is funny. The Wealdstone steward, bless him, he'd run off, and he came back with a little, and that's an iPhone, all right, with a little first aid kit that was the size of a very small purse. And I said to Neil, well, there'll be a plaster in there and maybe a little bit of TCP.
Lollipop.
I mean, it was funny. We knew that, because Cat was there and they said he'd be all right. But he was carrying this the smallest first aid kit I'd ever seen, because
Bless
they
him.
probably
He probably was trying to find one as well. So don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that I mean, we knew he was all right by then.
Yeah.
So I just said to Neil, "That's me funny. That's hilarious. That's not funny."
Fair enough. Right. So we're moving on to York very, very quickly. And I spoke to Simon, who is a supporter of York and the podcast host of Same Old City podcast. I think he co-hosts it. And he did a little scouting report for us a little while ago when we signed Matt Davis, I think, from York. So here he is. And this is what he had to say. Okay, we're now being joined by Simon, who is a host / co-host of Same Old City podcast, a York City podcast, and he's obviously a York City fan. It would make no sense otherwise. So thank you for joining us, Simon. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your history with York, and a little plug for the podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been a fan since the mid-90s, which was a bit of a high point for York City. If anyone remembers the 3-0 win at Old Trafford in 95, and we were sort of established in the third tier back then. So obviously, as a kid, I thought that was what supporting York was going to be like, and it turned out a little bit different. But yeah, so I've been supporting, I guess, coming up 30 years, really. In terms of the podcast, yeah, it's Same Old City. This is our second season that we've been doing this, and we're trying to collaborate a bit more with opposition fans as well this season. And yeah, it's myself and my co-host Ben, and we're pretty solid, sort of doing it every week. So yeah, that's been a new fun element. So yeah, do check that out if you want to see any more York City content.
Absolutely. So coming into the season, I know if everyone recognises Simon's voice, as he did one of the scouting reports for us. So coming into the season, what were your expectations of the season? What were you hoping for, and how has it gone early doors? I know it's only 3 games, but how's it gone so far and compared to your expectations?
Yeah, it's gone about as well as anyone could have hoped so far. Obviously, we only just scraped survival both of the last 2 seasons, and we were expecting to do better this season because we've got an established manager now in Adam Hinshelwood. He's been able to bring quite a few players he's worked with before. So we were hopeful that it was going to be better this season. I think everyone would kind of been saying, hopefully maybe a playoff push, but if not, then kind of top half, not worrying about relegation. But yeah, we've had a fantastic start. So started off with a 1-1 draw away at Southend, where we were probably the better team and might have even gone on to win it. Then beat Tamworth 2-0 at home, which was a really kind of dominant performance. Could have been more. And then last night we just beat Rochdale 1-0, and Rochdale looked a decent team, to be honest. So that was a bit more of a scrap. Didn't have things all our own way, but showed plenty of fight. So yeah, 7 points from 9, which I think is the same. You guys,
indeed,
yeah. Everyone's starting to kind of think, yeah, this could be a really good season. But as you say, early days. But yeah, in terms of expectations, we did do some predictions before the season started on Same Old City. I predicted 7th. Ben went for 9th. I think that's kind of the ballpark people are thinking, and that seems to kind of chime with what a lot of opposition fans have been saying they expect from York as well. So yeah, so far so good. But yeah, 3 games is not too many to judge.
I was going to say, after 30 years, you know not to think of, this is a great season after 3 games.
I can remember we actually won all 4 of our first league games the season we finished bottom of League 2 and went down to the conference. So yeah,
that's basically what we were saying. As we beat Altrincham 5-0, and everyone was like, yeah, the first home game last season we beat Notts County 5-1. So let's just chill a little bit. So what do you see so far as the strengths and weaknesses at this point, and are there any key players that you think we should be looking out for?
Yeah, so strengths is definitely, like I mentioned, the playing style. Hinshelwood likes to play quite a kind of fluid attacking style of play, get a lot of players forward, and that's really kind of working to worry the opposition teams. we have quite a small team, I guess would be the weakness, or at least we expected defensively. His previous team, Worthing, scored a lot of goals and conceded a lot of goals. So we thought defence would be the weak point. But we've actually just come off 2 clean sheets in a row. So far, that hasn't been as problematic as we thought it might be. And yeah, so I think we're a team that likes to keep the ball, likes to kind of win the possession battle first and foremost. So that's probably a strength. But yeah, there's a potential that we might get kind of out-muscled sometimes, although it didn't happen against Tamworth, who were definitely hoping to do that. In terms of players, I'd say there's maybe been kind of a couple of standout players so far this season. So Dan Batty, who plays in midfield, we did have him last season, but had a little bit of injury troubles and didn't kind of see the best of him, but he's probably been our best player so far. So he has been kind of slotting in further back. I mean, he's playing in midfield, but he's kind of dropping back, and he's got a very good kind of long diagonal pass on him, very, very accurate with those, and that's been key so far. So until people can work out how to deal with those, that's kind of been a big weapon for us. And also one of the new players, Joe Felix, who Hinshelwood signed from Worthing, who again he nominally plays at right back, but often will be as far forward as the front players. And I mean, he's only 5'2", but he can run all day, and yeah, he's good going forward and at the back, and he's really impressed all the City fans so far. So I think those have been kind of the 2 standouts. But also, yeah, a lot of good attacking players. And we've got Ollie Pearce from Worthing as well, who scored like 40 odd goals last season. He's only got 1 penalty for us so far, but definitely looks sharp and another one to watch.
Yeah, Joe Felix was one of the ones I was saying we should be trying to nab, but obviously he decided to stay with his friends, the boss and Ollie. How do you see the match against Sutton going? From again, all the early doors and everything, but how do you see the match going? Do you think it's being quite cagey, or do you think we're going to both just try and go for it and go for a bit of a thriller?
I don't think Hinshelwood really has it in him to play a cagey style. He's very much, this is the way we play. We don't worry about the opposition. We go out to win every game, and sometimes that's probably going to come back to bite us. So, yeah, expect us to kind of come out definitely playing for the win, and definitely trying to get players forward and attack. Obviously, it's going to be quite a tough game because, like I said, you guys have had a good start as well. So, yeah, we're maybe expecting something a bit more along the Southend game, first day of the season, which was quite a close game. And yeah, it's difficult to know, obviously, without knowing too much about you guys, and with it being so early in the season, it's really kind of anything could happen kind of one. But I think people are expecting a tough game. Would be the kind of general consensus.
And just to put it out there, just to make the headline, what's your prediction? No one's going to put money on it, honestly. Don't worry.
I'm gonna say 1-1.
1-1. Okay.
Yeah, and I think that would be a decent result probably for us.
Excellent. Well, Simon, thank you very much for your time. Good luck, obviously, with the parameters of most of the season. And don't forget to check out Same Old City podcast for their Sutton preview as well, where you can hear my voice again. Sorry about that.
That's right. Yeah, we'll tag the Sutton podcast in as well. So
right. So this is going to be a shorty because Jenny didn't hear most of that. You're both on mute because it puts us all on mute straight away. But thanks to Simon for joining us. Neil, any surprises there for you that what he was saying about what he expects from the game or anything like that, or have you not even really considered any league tables at the moment?
No real surprises. I think he just bodes for a good clash. We've both got 7 from 9, so I think that's the main thing to look forward to. I don't know a lot about York City, but they'll be relatively high on confidence. So, and we should be too. So, I think that gears up for a good match.
I think I said on his one where we're talking about the different styles of football and nice flowing, attacking, high pressing, and I was like 0-0, ball draw all over it. So firstly, everyone chucking some suggestions, because I did stand behind the goal in the Collingwood, but obviously I'm trying to get out of this whole rigid, I must stand in this certain place or bad things are going to happen. So if anyone's got any suggestions of where I could go, let me know and tell me why. And we're going to do the predictions. Man, I forgot that covers half the screen. So that's the top 10 so far. I think there's about 40 people so far. But get your predictions in. Hopefully this picture's going to be better, so you can actually do the... Yes, it's not covering it anymore. So what are your predictions? Jenny, we'll start with you. What do you think is going to happen in this game?
Well, although I didn't hear, which is a shame really, what the other chap was saying, so I can't go on that. But we're at home. I'm going for a 2-0 because I'm very confident with Steve. York are good. I've looked at the table. It's going to be a cracking match, hopefully, because it's, top 6. But I'm going to go for a 2-0. I think we'd be awesome on our carpet pitch and with Steve at the back.
No problem. And don't forget, just because you're saying that now, still enter the competition.
Oh, I will.
You don't have to stick with that. If you change your mind, it goes in with whatever you've done in the competition. And Neil, not sure if you play along with this, but what's your prediction for now? Your early prediction?
I think we'll win. I think it'll be a bit tight. I think we're going to sneak it 2-1 at home.
Ooh.
Yeah,
we absolutely won't win.
And I'm going to start playing it. Actually, I'm going to. I've been
Yeah.
hit and miss with that, and I had a good few predictions last
You
season.
did
so
actually. You got a couple. I think you got 2 in a row right, and then you just was like, "Yeah, I'm not doing this anymore."
No, I need to get back on it. To get back on it. Yeah.
Well, it won't be 2-1 because that's what I'm going for. And today this will be match 59. I get wrong. I suspect players listen, and if it's 2-1, they're going to desperately try and score another goal or concede a goal just to make sure I don't get it right. But we're going to the code is on the screen. If you're watching, you probably worked that out, and if you're listening, it means nothing to you. So we are going to start to wrap up, and as always, we appreciate your attention and feedback. There's lots of questions for you to get involved with. What changes would you like to see over the next few years? What was your good, bad, and the funny? And where should I watch from and why? In anything else you want to be discussed on the podcast, any sort of wider questions, we can kind of put them to the panel and see. But for now, this is the episode of Sutton Podcast finished. Follow, like, share this episode at Sutton Podcast on all social medias. Once again, thanks to Jenny and to Neil. And next time we are back with Paul Darby and Gabriel. I'm 90% sure that's the two. So get your questions sent in. We're going to talk all things York. And thanks to the listeners, our sponsors, Lucky Star Gin. Hope you've enjoyed this episode. Take care, and we will catch up soon. Thank you. Bye-bye. United!